Welcome to Conversation with Zaki Baruti, with your host, Zaki Baruti. And like always, I want to give a shout out to my biological family. What's happening? To the Universal African Peoples Organization family, what's going on? And to New Life Evangelistic Center family, headed by Reverend Rice. Keep up the great work, and a shout out to our cameraman, Bob. On that note, we'll have another great show this evening, because in the studio with me, I have a federal retired employee of the United States government who has served in a whole lot of different interesting capacities, and I want to share some of her life experiences.
Yes,
and that's none other than Miss Donna Bumper.
Yes, sir.
And welcome.
Thank you, Mrs. Zaki. I appreciate the opportunity. I'm humbly appreciative of this opportunity.
Okay, then. Whenever I begin my shows, I like our audience to know a little background history of the person I'm interviewing, you know, in terms of childhood or what have you. If you would, share something that you want the world to know about you as you was growing up.
Absolutely. So I am a product of my environment of East St. Louis. I am a child
You're from East St. Louis?
East St. Louis, Illinois.
Oh, same town where I was raised at. All right,
absolutely. And I am a child of teenage parents.
Wow.
And we didn't have a whole lot growing up, but I can tell you that they poured into us and made sure that we knew who the Lord was, and that we knew that we could be anything that we wanted to be, no matter what our circumstances were. We didn't have to succumb to our environment. So I grew up in the school district of 189. And ultimately speaking, that was my former years. And then ultimately speaking, as my parents, you know, got a little better off financially and through an inheritance, my parents were able to move us to St. Louis, Missouri in 1978 to University City.
Now, they were teenagers when you became into existence.
Yes.
And they grew together and
married and grew together. And ultimately speaking, they had 4 children by the time they were 19.
Wow.
So.
They were trying to keep up with a brother of mine who ended up having 16 children, all by the same woman.
Absolutely.
But anyway, go ahead.
Absolutely. And they too, my mother was a high school dropout who ultimately went on to, with my assistance and support as I matriculated my educational endeavors and collegiate level as well, went on to go back to night school. I helped her with that. She went on to graduate from St. Louis Community College. I also graduated preceding her, but was able to help facilitate her graduating St. Louis Community College. And then we both went on to Columbia College, where again I graduated, but I also poured into my mom so that she can actualize her educational endeavors as a result of missing that opportunity. And this is how we know that it's never too late to accomplish things in life as well. But she would go on to get her bachelor's degree. I left her behind. She graduated a year after me, and then I went on to Webster University, where I matriculated my MBA. But I am also a proud UCD Indian of the University High School. I graduated in 1984.
Which is located in University City,
which is
Missouri.
located here in St. Louis, Missouri, in University City. So, and I graduated with the class of 1984. Go Indians! You see the Indians here. So, yes, and I'm very grateful and thankful for both of those educational systems. District 189 poured into me when I was a younger young lady, and then as I became a mature adult, I would be able to actualize not all of my dreams. I did go into college after graduating from University City, but because I could not afford to continue to pay for my educational endeavors, as well as my parents, because they had by then 5 children when I became a college level student, I was blessed to meet a recruiter, Matt Thompson, who would change the trajectory of my life, because I was originally supposed to go to Tennessee State University for my 4-year college. But again, parents couldn't afford that, so didn't give up. I'm a child of God, so I'm always looking to make things better. Even if I'm fed lemons, I've always had the motto that I can make lemonade out of anything. And so I decided to enroll at the local St. Louis Community College, which helped to start my journey for my collegiate endeavors. And as a result of that, I met Master Sergeant Thompson, who recruited me to the U.S. Army Reservists, where I served for 10 years here in the St. Louis, Missouri area. And I was stationed over on Goodfellow back when that was the Armory over there. And also, I transitioned to the RC Pack right here at 9700 Page to finish out my Army career there. But in the interim of that, I was able to matriculate 2 degrees. I also became a U.S. Army civilian employee, where I served for over 34 years before elevating to the Office of Secretary of Defense at the Pentagon in Washington, D.C. And then I would journey from there over to the White House, where I worked on the U.S. Department of Commerce staff for the President's agenda for the National Transportation Information Administration.
Okay, then. Well, you zipped all the way through what some of the questions I wanted. Okay.
we can reel back.
All right, yes, we are. Okay, then. So, and that was interesting in terms of a trajectory in your life upon meeting Master
Sergeant Thomas, but I do want to pay homage to my high school, because University City is the reason why I had enough courage and enough insight, garnering insight, to make an informed decision that in order for me to finish my collegiate endeavors, I had to find a financial instrument. And so because I was in the business co-op program there at University City, and that entire district from the time I entered in the 6th grade over at Brittany Woods, and then I would go on to Hanley Junior High, on to University City, where I met a Mr. Meredith, who was my business education teacher, who poured into me and taught me how to be a go-getter after my dreams. I didn't have to give up and not have hope, but also built on the foundation of my faith as well. I was able to make that informed decision when I met Master Sergeant Thompson and joined the Army.
And just prior to that, though, meeting him, you just said something to me that's very significant and important in terms of, as we develop as human beings going through school,
yes,
the impact that educators have on our lives, especially the good ones.
Absolutely.
Yes. So my next question comes after we're going to take a quick break.
An epidemic of homelessness is sweeping throughout the United States of America. In city after city, people are ending up on the streets. Now, instead of feeling overwhelmed, as believers, we can do 3 things. We can give, we can volunteer, and we can pray. We can pray for the homeless refugees that we're finding in one city after another, all over the United States. So many people ending up out on the streets, and the hearts of so many are growing cold at this particular time and indifferent to the need. Jesus said, as oft as you've done it to the least of these, he said, even so you've done it unto me. When's the last time you've prayed for the homeless refugees in the United States of America, appearing in city after city, not only in major cities, but even smaller cities? So many people ending up out on the streets, even in resort areas, places you never think you'd find homeless people. They're there. Jesus said, foxes have holes and birds have nests, but he, the Son of Man, had nowhere to lay his head. Please pray for the refugees. Please pray for the homeless people in America. And pray for those that are on the front lines, the first responders, reaching out through Jesus Christ among the homeless and hurting, whether it's in Springfield or St. Louis. Your prayers and gifts to the New Life Evangelistic Center makes a big difference. This New Life Evangelistic Center, P.O. Box 473, St. Louis, Missouri, is 63166.
Since 1972, New Life Evangelistic Center has been on the front lines, reaching out, helping the hurting, the homeless, the fatherless, the widowed throughout mid-America. Yes, although it's had its roots in St. Louis, it now has expanded throughout mid-America into India and Africa, Haiti, and other places around the world. Oh, what a history New Life Evangelistic Center has. And we have many of these history books available to you, and they're right there on Amazon. And if we can help you get one of those, you contact us at 314-421-3020. But in addition to all that, we want to share a lot of that history with you right here as we take a look at how the work began and how the Lord has taken us throughout the years and the miracles that we have seen, all because of caring people like you. You're part of the history of the New Life Evangelistic Center. And we're believing that 2025 is the year that the center is going to become alive and seeing the Lord do exceedingly beyond we can even ask or think. We're on the verge of miracles. Yes, New Life Evangelistic Center has a rich history, but there's much more yet to come. And that's why I'm inviting you to familiarize yourself with the history of the past and be a part of the miracles of the present. Yes, let the Lord God Almighty work in you and through you. Let him do exceedingly beyond what you can ask or think. He's got a purpose for you. And we want you to be able to live out that purpose as you get directly involved in the history of New Life Evangelistic Center and what the Lord is doing now.
Welcome back to Conversation with Zaki Baruti. In studio with me is Ms. Donna Bumper, who has a wealth of experiences working for the United States government, in essence, federal, actually,
and military.
And military. Okay, let me stand corrected there. Okay, and let me put a disclaimer. I know you. When I first graduated from high school, I looked at the possibility of going into the military in order to get an education, because it was tough for our parents, to be able to provide the money for us to further our education. But I had a whole different trajectory of life that put me on the path of saying, no, the U.S. government is not right in a lot of instances in international affairs.
Right.
But however, going back to you, so the whole experience of being in the U.S. Reserve, how was that?
So
Army
again,
Reserve.
the U.S. Army Reserve afforded me an opportunity of a lifetime. As I indicated before, my parents were teenage parents, had 4 children by the time they were 19. And so, of course, to your point, Mrs. Zaki, they were not in the position financially, if you will, although my father was fully capable of taking care of us as a family to be a provider. But they just did not have the resources or the finances for me to continue my education. So my first year of college, I really thought that I was doomed and hopeless, because they'd indicated to me that I did not qualify for financial aid, but also my parents did not have the funds. And we all know that, really, to tell you the truth, they had said that we made too much money. And so, of course, that thin line between the poverty line, we were just below the radar there. So I really thought I had to drop out of college, would not be able to actualize my collegiate endeavors. But again, as a result of being a part of the business co-op there at University City High School, who taught me you go after your dreams and you look for resources that would help facilitate that, I had the opportunity to engage a Master Sergeant Thompson, who was, oh, by the way, a U.S. Army recruiter, when I was walking through the Student Activity Center one day at St. Louis Community College and had just given up all hope. And he really poured into me and told me, hey, I have an opportunity of a lifetime. And he said, how would you feel if I told you today that you could still get your collegiate degrees and actualize your college education, plus learn a trade at the same time and make money doing that? And of course, for me, I was like, hey, I know how to make a dollar holler, but if I can get $1 that will allow me to finish my educations and go on to give back to my community, that's all the better for me. And my parents could be proud of me, my school system could be proud of me, but more importantly, I could be proud of myself, standing on my faith that I did not have to give up hope of achieving my college dreams, which will parlay into my career. So when I went into the military, I actually was able to finance my education, but also learn a trade. And that trade would take me way further than I ever imagined and dreamed, because at that point, I was only wanting to get my college education and come back and work here locally in St. Louis. So the reservists allowed me to do that. Being in the Army Reserves allowed me to do that. I learned a trade.
And what was that trade?
And so when I was in the Army, I was a military personnel specialist, and that was all encompassing up under the umbrella where I provided, we called it administrative services for the Army Reserves, and I was located over on at 4300 Goodfellow, and I worked for the 102nd ARCOM there. So I was up under that Army Reserve umbrella, providing a wide range and gamut of personnel support to
So
that.
So the trade was, again?
Military personnel specialist.
Okay, okay.
So, and that encompasses all administrative aspects of being a soldier in the Department of the Army. So we were responsible, and I had oversight for promotions, for benefits, for careers, soldiers making informed decisions about their careers so that they can also actualize their dreams. We took care of their awards, their promotions, their benefits for them and their families. And so basically speaking, we were the support to the soldiers so that they can be freed up to focus on what the mission of the Army was downrange.
Okay, then, and you did that for about 10 years?
I did that for 10 years, and it paid for my education in full.
Okay, then. And you also did additional 24 years in the United States, or 34 years?
I did an additional 34 years as an Army civilian. I would become what is called a Department of Army civilian. And my career would pick up at the Aviation Transportation Command, which was just right across the street from my reservist center there on Goodfellow. And I had a good leader by the name of Master Sergeant L.D. McGee. And he sent me and maybe about 10 other soldiers. We were at weekend drill, and instead of us doing drill, again, here's another blessing, and God is always taking care of me, leaning on my faith. I was sent to take what was called back then the civil service exam, and I took that in 1988. He sent us around March time frame, and by August of 1988, I had become a successful DA civilian. I was onboarded as a DA civilian careerist at the U.S. Army Aviation Command there on Goodfellow, back when that was a pillar of our community.
So did you do any, were you sent overseas to any stations?
So I was called up in support of the Desert Storms, and so we were considered what's called was the arrear support. So I was mobilized, but I did not go downrange because at the time girls were not allowed downrange, and women and girls were not, women were not allowed downrange. But I did deploy in the arrears through Seoul, Korea.
So in Seoul, Korea.
So I didn't go to Seoul, Korea, but I was deployed in support of it. And so by the time they started to ramp up, we were in the full throes of the war. And so the arrear support stayed stationary and mobilized here in St. Louis, Missouri.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
so
sir.
you
But
actually didn't physically
I didn't
go.
forward deploy, but I served in arrears forward deploy.
Okay, then. Now, I also wish upon meeting you captivated my imagination, and I wanted to share with the people. You worked with the United States Department of Commerce actually at the White House, is that correct?
Yes, sir. And in support of the President's agenda for the National Transportation Information Administration.
Okay, then, and...
Telecommunications, I'm sorry, National Telecommunications Information.
Okay, well, we'll get into that on the other side of the break.
Behind me is the New Life Evangelistic Center administrative offices in Overland, Missouri. And this is where we shoot our shows for our worship shows and the Here's Help Network. And it's also where Zaki Baruti and Bernie Hayes shoot their shows. You can find all of these shows at the New Life Evangelistic Center app, the NLEC TV app. You can also access them on your tablet or on your computer. And this is how you can stay up to date with all the things that New Life Evangelistic Center is doing. There are so many different programs that we've got going on, and God is doing many exciting things through partners like you. So if you want to support the work that New Life is doing, then please access and give through the app. You can go online at nlecstl.org or give us a call at 314-421-3020. Again, 314-421-3020. But this is the best way to get plugged into the amazing work that New Life is doing through people like you. And so we ask that you share your much needed gifts right now. We are out on the streets every single day through our street patrol. We have big rallies on Friday where we give bus tickets and clothing and food. We have a center in Springfield and New Bloomfield and House Springs and all throughout Missouri. And so there is something for you to get involved in today. And we are so thankful for our partners. Only through the grace of God and your gift are we able to bless others today.
Welcome back to Conversation with Zaki Baruti. In the studio with me is Miss Donna Bumper. She has a long, storied history working for the United States military, as well as working at the White House and under the Department of Commerce.
Yes, sir.
Now, how was that experience? Did you actually work within the White House, first of all?
Yes, sir. I worked within the ranks of the White House, and I
mean, the physical structure of the White House.
The physical structure, and also the Department of the Commerce, right there on Pennsylvania Avenue and Constitution Avenue, there at 1401 of South Constitution Avenue. Avenue. So yes, but to your
And that
point,
was under what president?
under the current president, Biden, and also VP Kamala Harris.
Okay, well, you know, I have to say boo to Biden for sure because of the war in Gaza, but that's a whole nother
Absolutely.
thing. So how was that experience then? I mean, did you meet Biden?
Yes, I met both Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris as well. And so just that experience in itself was an honor to me to even be able to be in the room, if you will,
Right.
more or less from a professional standpoint, being an African-American woman at my level within that arena, which is quite uncommon, if you will. And it was a journey even to get to that point. And so why it served me.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. How many times did you get a chance to be in either their presence, would you say?
Countless. It
Oh,
was
is that
pretty recurring because of the nature of the agenda in which we provide support as advisors to that administration. So up and close, personally, maybe once or twice, but in the room was on a recurring basis.
Now, for some of our people, they may not be really familiar with the duties of the Department of Commerce, and we know Commerce dealing with business. What specifically were some of the responsibilities of the Department of Commerce?
So, a vast amount. I mean, economically speaking, they are the epicenter for ensuring that we have economic success here in the United States, both here and globally, if you will, for our U.S. taxpayers and our citizens. And so I'm always inclined to share what that organization is all about, because, again, it is one of the president's top agendas in terms of making sure we have a quality of life across the globe, systemically speaking, across races, across genders, just in terms of programmings that are available to us as U.S. citizens here. And so a lot of my friends, colleagues, sister circle, sorors, they can tell you that I'm a firm believer in making sure that the information gets from the White House to the streets, and in particular, my community. And when I say my community, I'm talking about my race of people. So, yeah, economically speaking, the Department of the Commerce is the president's agenda for ensuring economic success here in the United States.
Okay, now, out of all of your experiences, one thing that, first of all, going back meeting the presidents, I just had to throw it in, and I've been blessed to meet some world leaders too that have been on the opposite side of the United States, including Muammar Gaddafi of Libya, as well as Robert Mugabe of Zimbabwe, and the president of Sudan, and the president of Nicaragua. So it's a blessing.
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
It's a blessing. Quickly, the positive experiences and the negative experiences.
Yes.
Real quick.
So again, it was.
Let's go
positive.
negative
Well,
first.
so to go negative, we'll go back to the point. Being an African American woman, just in that arena and that environment was challenging, to say the least. In terms of being met with opposition, because first of all, you're not supposed to be in the room, let alone have a seat at the table and be in a seat where that drives oversight for all of those type of programs. That is relative to ensuring that everything is equally leveled across the playing field. So sometimes you are considered to be a danger in the room, especially if you're Black, you have brains, and you have the wherewithal to navigate the bureaucracy without succumbing to the enemy's attack. And so again, most of my colleagues will tell you that I stood 10 toes down on my faith. I think my book says it all, and this is how I was able to survive the negativity, because one of the things that I...
Wait a minute, for our audience, and the book is Waymaker, Miracle Worker, Promise Keeper, Light in the Darkness. My God, that is who you are.
And that is to me, because from my humble beginnings as a little girl in East St. Louis, coming up in what was considered to be the ghetto, and then matriculating and moving to St. Louis, where my education was poured into me, and then I joined the military, was the projectile for me to get to where I am. So that's my motto.
Okay,
there.
then. On that note, though, I got to interrupt you. Got to take a last break.
Do you have any idea how many people are having to sleep outside? Yes, viewers of the Zaki Baruti Show, you are being called into action at this time. Your help is urgently needed here at the New Life Evangelistic Center. Our teams are going out every day, and we need your prayers. We need your gifts here because we receive no city, state, or federal dollars. How many times I have to personally run to the store in order to just buy meat and bread? People could be making sandwiches and bringing them to the doors here at 2428 Woodson Road in Overland, Missouri. They could be buying cases of water and bringing them here so we can get these out to the homeless people. 2428 Woodson Road in Overland, Missouri. They could write out those checks and send them in because we have to buy this. They're depending upon us. And not only that, they get bus tickets, hundreds and even thousands of bus tickets distributed to so many people who need transportation assistance. We can't do it without each and every one of you. It's New Life Evangelistic Center, P.O. Box 473, St. Louis, Missouri. That's 63166. You can give online at nlecstl.org. Your prayers are urgently needed at this time. Come on, you watch the Zaki Baruti show, you hear about the various issues. Now it's important that we respond to those issues by helping so many people that have fallen through the safety nets, in spite of the promises of the politicians. So many people are hurting right now. They're out there. They don't know where to go. What are they doing? I don't see hardly anything in St. Louis County, Jefferson County, St. Francis County. I can mention county after county, Madison County, St. Clair County. They want to ship them to St. Louis. St. Louis can't take care of all the problems. But we got to get all these other counties involved. In the meantime, we got to get your church involved. We need you. I've got a book I've written that if you'd like a copy of that, it's called The Case for Compassion. We'll be happy to share that with you if you request it. When you send in your gift to New Life Evangelistic Center, P.O. Box 473, St. Louis, Missouri, that's 63166. You can give online at nlecstl.org. It's called The Case for Compassion, citing over 2,000 Bible verses that are used throughout the Scriptures, and yet we don't hear about this. I preach like we should. You can get a copy for your minister. But let's get our churches involved. Let's reach out. Let's help those that Jesus referred to. The least of these, after you've done to them, you've done it unto him. Let's help them right now. Please get involved. Call us at 314-421-3020 or share that much needed gift at P.O. Box 473, St. Louis, Missouri. That's 63166. You can give online at nlecstl.org.
Welcome back to Conversation with Zaki Baruti. I'm going to have a couple more minutes with Ms. Donna Bumper, and we're looking at her experience as a military and a federal employee, as well as working within the White House. On the other side of the break, we're looking at both the negative and the positive.
Yes, sir.
Positive in terms of off air, we were talking about contributions to the community. Real quick, because we only got a couple minutes.
Absolutely. So the positive aspect of me being able to work there in the White House at Department of Commerce in support of the president's agenda, it's all about exposure and experience. And so in terms of the exposure and experience, I was able to garner knowledge and exposure to information that otherwise our local communities does not receive. And as a result of that, I was able to bring and or share or send that information back to my local community and also to what I consider to be my culture that otherwise would not be exposed to that information, let alone know about what is available to them as a resource as a citizen here in the United States. And so for me, that was the positive aspect of working there in support of the president's agenda at the White House via the Department of Commerce, being able to garner that insight and have that hands-on, tangible opportunity to get that information, to be able to articulate it properly to give back to my community here in St. Louis, Missouri.
And you retired then. When did you retire?
I transitioned and retired. Yes, sir. I went out in May of 2024 of this year, and that was a conscious decision for me due to the Project 2025 and the current running mate for president election, Trump, and it's called the Trump Agenda 47. And so, again, just reading through that, starting back in 2022, I made it up in my mind that at some point, because the goal is to dismantle, if you will, anything that has to do with women that look like me in the Department of the federal government. And so, yes, I made the decision to retire as a result of that.
Okay, at some point in time, we'll have to have you back, especially talking about Project 2025.
Yes, sir.
On that note, I want to thank you for being in studio with me.
Absolutely, a pleasure.
Okay.
I thank you for this opportunity.
And to my audience, like always, everyone should vote, but before you cast your vote, you should know the issues So please go out and vote at every election, as well as join an organization that speaks truth to power and have a history of working for the upliftment of us as a people. We say join the Universal African Peoples Organization. On that note, may God bless each and every one of you. And again, thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Zaki. It was a pleasure.
All right.